Well, you look the part, but let's see some of your moves.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm feeling like a star, you can't stop my shine. I'm loving Cloud City, my head's in the sky. I'm solo, I'm hunting solo, I'm hunting solo, I'm hunting solo, solo. Yeah, I'm feeling good tonight, finally feeling free and it feels so right. Oh, time to do the things I like. Gonna see a princess, everything's alright. Oh, no job but an answer to. Ain't a fixture in the palace zoo. No, and since the carpet nights off me, I'm living life now that I'm free. Yeah, told me get myself together. Now I got myself together. Now I made it through the weather. Better days are gonna get better. I'm so happy the current night is gone. I'm moving on. I'm so happy that it's over now. The pain is gone. I'm putting on my shades to cover up my eyes. I'm jumping in my ride. I'm heading.
There we go. Just in time. John, I turned you back on, John.
Well then.
There we go. Wait a minute, why is
Oh, now he's frozen.
now he is frozen? Okay. Okay. Looks like everything's up.
That was like Blair Witch Project footage for a second there.
There we go. So how is everybody's?
Hello, am I back?
Yeah, you're back. Let's see.
Okay.
Where is? I say we just. Hang on. I don't even know where I'm so out of touch. I don't even have the right background turned on.
I think we're all out of sorts, having been away for a week.
I know it feels like forever. There we go. There's something. All right. Now we're back. Now we're back on track. It's all good now.
Yeah, we took a week off. Now we're back, and everything feels right in the universe.
Yeah, there we go. So, here we'll start with troop time. Just get right to it. Besides, just John was the trooping fiend.
Yep. And I got one this weekend too, so we're just going right at it. So May 4th, we did the Akron Rubber Ducks game, which that's our minor league baseball team out here. It was pretty uneventful. No one really cared that we were there. So, yeah, we left it around the 6th inning or so.
Yeah.
So yeah, we didn't even stay the whole game. And then we did Revenge of the Fifth at the Akron Zoo, where people actually cared that we were there. So, and I finally debuted my ISB officer and took my approval pictures because I asked our squad leader. I was like, "Hey, is this an LFL event? Can I wear this?" You know, because I know I'm going to be roasting in this 75-degree weather. So I'll do Kylo for like 3/4, and then the last little leg, I'm going to do my ISB officer because he was doing Krennic. So I was like, it's a match made in heaven.
Nice.
So, and then they talked me into doing my approval picks while we were there, and I had the whole costume already laid out. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, and then I'm doing Return of the Jedi in concert this weekend in Columbus.
I love that.
I know. I was this close to having to cancel because I can't afford to make a 2-hour trip right now. But my buddy who lives down in Columbus is like, "Hey, I'll give you some gas money if you want to come down and visit for a couple hours before you troop." So it all worked itself out.
That's very cool.
How about you, Ken?
I didn't do any trooping per se, but I was lucky enough to get up to Contrapolis for a little bit of time on Sunday. Bumped into some people I knew up there.
200 a carat.
You know, mostly 000 and Zoe and you, Mr. Mike. And the thing that was cool for me is I have a friend named Jackie who is an artist, and she goes around to various conventions selling her copper works. It's a Copper by Jackie. That's her storefront, and she was there, so I got to spend time with her, and we've been friends. We did the math over the weekend. We've been friends for 30 years,
Oof. That's wow,
which
your
is
whole life.
yeah, pretty much. It's just remarkable that we've been friends that long, and even though we don't see each other that often, when we do see each other, when we do get a chance to hang out, it's like no time has lapsed. It's just back into the inside jokes and the silly stories, and it was fun. Plus, I got to hang out with some of the stars that were there, so we spent time talking with Bob Eubanks and Jamie Farr and Loretta Swit, and talked to Chris Bartlett for a little while, and uh, the there was two folks there from The Mandalorian, and I completely have just blanked on their names, and I do
Yeah.
apologize for that. And I got a picture with Michael Bain and hung out with him for a little while as well. So it was pretty fun. I wasn't in costume other than my Narkina 5 prisoner costume,
Which
but
looked good, which looked great.
there's the random person going by either yelling on program or one way out. But it was pretty fun. I got to hang out with Dan from the Droid
Yeah.
Builders, and
Dude, when I first ran into you guys, it took me a minute to even realize it was Dan because I was running on like no sleep, and I went just for my own sanity, and yeah, that was a fun. I mean, it wasn't fun for the vendors because it was slow as could be, but um,
yeah, and it was slow the whole weekend. Jackie was there both days, and she said it was a slow event.
but yeah, it was nice. Like it was nice seeing Chris and talking to Chris, and because remember we looped around and we're going to find Chris, and he wasn't there. No, I don't think. Were you guys with us when we went to his table and he wasn't there?
No, sir.
Yeah, so we got there. We were because I mainly just went to see Chris Bartlett and Ken, of course, but we he wasn't there. So I said, well, let's just loop around, and then we came around, and that's when we ran into you guys, and Chris like ran into Safi too when I was looking at the Migo figures. So, but. And I guess there was the Saber Guild was there.
Yeah, Saber Guild, Droid Builders, and some members of the 501st, I think.
Yeah, like Howard was there, and I don't know anyone else in costume from the 501st. I think I just saw Howard, and yeah, it was pretty cool.
Was Howard the biker scout?
Yeah.
Yeah, he also had a modified chopper.
Oh yeah, that was Roddy from the Droid Builders.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was the Michael Badley. I think that's the Michael Badley chopper. That's a nice chopper. And Dave Castellano was there from Droid Builders.
Is he the gentleman with glasses?
Yeah, and all the tattoos up his arm. Yeah, that's Dave Castellano. That's like the Droid Builders are kind of weird because there's no leader. Like they're almost like the Borg or something, like there's no leader, but he's kind of the leader most of the time, but there is no official leader.
Yeah, I got some pictures of Chris Bartlett and Marty, the gentleman who plays the pirate Vane.
Yeah,
in The Mandalorian. They were all geeking out over the droids, so I got pictures of them with the droids, and Dan was in the picture. I didn't realize it was Dan. My problem is, they don't wear name tags half the time, and B, for whatever reason, my brain breaks, and I forget to, either tell them who I am or ask them who they are. It's that social awkwardness, I guess.
Yeah, that's pretty much all. I didn't do anything for May the 4th, trooper-wise, so it was just...
I went to work as a modified director, so I had my badge on. I had the Imperial hat, and the belt and holster, but I didn't wear the cape because I didn't have the cape hemmed. I didn't want it to drag on the floor of a hospital.
Right? Yeah. Come back with some new COVID Ken invents from
new swab
swabbing the whole hospital. Yeah.
But it was pretty fun. There's a couple of people that recognized it, didn't realize what it was. I think my favorite part was when I was in the cafeteria. Someone came up, tapped me on the shoulder, and says, "Are you supposed to be a train conductor?"
Well,
Yes,
it's better
yes,
than being called a Nazi, you know.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, I'll take train conductor any day over
So,
Nazi.
but yeah, that was fun. I mean, that was we did a trivia night. We got second place. Me, Zoe, Marty, and Quinn got second place.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, we felt like losers actually.
Second out of how many teams?
I don't think there's like 15 teams or something like that.
Oh wow, that's still pretty impressive.
Well, the third round, you had to put the top 10 people that had the most lines in all the Star Wars movies. I know. And so we were just like, what? You know.
That's a little excessive.
Yeah, so that's what really, because I think we got we missed one Dooku quote, and we missed the name of Lucian's shop from Andor. That's the only questions we missed the other rounds.
I didn't even realize that Luthen's shop had a name.
I didn't. It was some long ass name that was
Luthen's Den of Antiquities.
It was similar, yeah, and so, but yeah, we besides that, I mean, it's been a car week for us, not a Star Wars week, unfortunately. So
Yeah, it's been Car Wars for you.
yeah, so I spent all Monday. I got home at 11 p.m. Monday after buying a car. So like I went to work at 6 and had to go all the way to Harrisburg to buy a car. So
Did you get another Volkswagen?
yeah, got a 2014 Beetle stick shift. So I can't hear you, John.
It's doing like this weird sound effecty thing.
Yeah, it sounds like a
A
mouse.
chipmunk.
Better?
There you go. Yeah, now you sound like a human being.
There we go.
Yeah, Zoe's car crapped out Saturday. So it didn't.
Yeah.
It was just a water pump. But if you've ever put a water pump in a Beetle, it's powered by the timing gear or timing chain. So you have to take the timing chain out and this and I was just like, I'm not doing all that work on a 98 Beetle.
Yeah. Is the new one also yellow?
No, it's white. We couldn't find yellow. When I put the search down to stick shift, it put like 6 in the tri-state area, and then when I put it, by the time I got from the garage to check, 3 had already sold.
Yikes!
So, yeah, we actually wound up going to a Volkswagen dealer, and they said the stick shifts are like they don't last long. So
Now, are the new ones, are they still slanted H like the old ones, or is it just straight H?
it's a straight. They're straight. They're not like, and they're not. The old ones you had a good, you had to kind of shake it around to figure out where. These are nice tight because it's basically like a Golf or a GTI type shifter. It's a pretty nice tight little shifter.
Yeah, I remember having to press down on the shift
Oh, yeah.
knob to go into reverse.
Yeah, you still press down on reverse, but yeah, it's a nice little car. But
I miss having a manual car.
Was it on my plans? So because Monday my oxygen sensor went out on my car, so I was leaving to go to work, and it lit up like a Christmas tree. So we turned around, took Safi's car because she wasn't working or anything, and then I called the dealer, and they were in Harrisburg, so we left from. It was not a fun day. So now it's all good. I got my car inspected today. I got everything, but just fun times. So.
Yeah, that sounds wonderful.
Yeah, just I had this plan, so because we were going to go to the con, right? So I said to Missy, I'm going to put the exhaust on my car. It should take like 2 hours, and then I'm going to work on these belly wires for Zoe or Safi's 000, and I'm going to do some stuff on the Sabine. And it took all day to put my exhaust on because the bolts coming out of the manifold, I couldn't get them loose. And I was like, if I break these, that's a whole nother problem. So I was hitting it with penetrating oil and just sitting under the car and giving it constant pressure for a while till it broke loose. And it just took all day. But one of those, you know. And then I hadn't laid under a car in so long, man. I felt like I was 100 years old Sunday. When Ken saw me, man, I was like, every time I moved, it felt like my bones were just smacking together. So, but I had fun. It was like the smiles Safi was having just in costume, and she loved talking to Chris, because she, same with when she talks to Dan. It's always nice to talk to someone who's worn the costume, because they know what you're going through, you know. So, but
yeah, we finally, speaking of cars, we finally got the carburetor working on the 92 Camaro.
oh, okay.
So that was an interesting project. Only caught on fire twice.
Well, that sounds about right.
So, but yeah, we finally, after 3 years of not running, my first car is officially alive once again.
Very nice.
So, just to chime into the car conversation.
Good. Well, and then my troop time, I have a troop next Thursday night after school, a library event. At a school in my district down in Maryland. So
At least it's after school.
Yeah.
Because May 4th we had a 1 o'clock
oh
library troop. Nobody showed up, and everyone's like, "Huh? I wonder why." It's a weekday in the middle of the afternoon
At a public library.
At a public library. All the kids are still in school.
yeah. Well, I said this before for our garrison for years, like the May the 4th and the Free Comic Book Day. To me, besides hospital visits, but like Free Comic Book Day should be like the 501st and the costume groups big jam, because that's one of the few last family owned and run businesses that pretty much all the nerds go to it in some way, shape, or form. You know what I mean? Like a comic book store, that still hasn't been invaded by the big chain stores yet. If you get my drift on that,
Mhm.
and we could make because we have so many comic book stores in Eastern PA that I was trying to say, why don't we like make it a crawl? Like, okay, comic book store A wants us, we'll be there at 9 a.m. to 10. Comic book store B wants us, we'll be there 11 to 12, and have our troopers do crawls from whatever direction they are, so we pass each other all day long, if that makes sense. Like, I might be going east to west, someone might be going north to south, and we just, and then by the end of the day, you all do like 5 1-hour troops, and it just, just kind of spread the love. But they look at me like I have two heads when I say that. So,
Ken, what about you? You got anything coming up?
On the second, 3rd, and 4th of June is the Fan Expo in Philadelphia, and then I don't remember. I think after that, June 24th, they're doing the Force Awakens with a live orchestra in Philadelphia that I signed up for.
Oh, that will be fun.
So those, and then we have an armor party at the end of May. Those are the
Mercs party.
Yeah, that's one. I think that's going to be another one in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania.
Is that a Sunday or Saturday?
I believe it's a Saturday. I'll have to double check.
Yeah, then the next troop after Saturday is Dad and I signed up for Brickfest in Cleveland. So that'll be. I signed up for both days. He can only use Sunday though. And then I'm still, if I either get a job and have money, or my unemployment finally comes through after 10 weeks now, I will be there on June 10th. So it's a matter of either finding a job or the Department of Job and Family Services here in the good old state of Ohio finally stop yanking me around. So
it is always funny that you can pay into that your entire life, and then when you actually need it, they all of a sudden it's like, what? We don't know how to do this.
Yep. And it's all bureaucracy.
Yeah.
So like I had to file 2 appeals back from 2020 because I went back to work for like a day or two, and I reported my earnings. I told them like, hey, I went back to work, but they closed us back down. Like, here's how much I made. But apparently I didn't do it right. I had to file a whole new application to continue my benefits. So they were like, hey, remember all that money we paid you because you lost your job due to the global pandemic? You have to pay all 10,000 of those dollars back. So,
well, maybe you can get that sports job you posted up.
that would be cool. That would be fun.
Yeah, Quinn has a Make-A-Wish truckers troop on Sunday. I don't know if you saw that, Ken, on any of the boards.
No, I didn't.
It's the Mother's Day something for Make-A-Wish, so I might do that Sunday. I just can't. I got to look, and I'm still catching up from this past weekend of getting everything done. So I'd rather not commit until I know I can go, but I'll probably do that Sunday morning in Lancaster. Or Lancaster if you're not from the area.
No, it's Lancaster, Pennsylvania, Lancaster, Ohio.
Right. Well, in Lancaster, Maryland, or California too.
Mm.
So, but yeah, I finally got to see all the Visions, all but the last one. Which
So you didn't see all of it then?
Huh? We were finishing them. That's why we were late. I've been promising Zoe since May the 4th that we would watch it. And between car stuff and everything, so I finally had to commit to watching it today.
Yeah, I still haven't started it, other than what we saw at Celebration.
Yeah, it's good. They were good. I mean, they're different. I mean, some of the styles you might like and not like, but I thought all the stories were good.
Yeah, I've been focused on playing Jedi Survivor.
Yeah, Zoe's playing that. I haven't.
Did she upgrade her Xbox?
She bought a new one.
There we go.
Yeah, well,
it honestly, like, it's really making me want to do a Cal Kestis, because there is
version though, because there's like 56 different costume choices that you can have.
Yeah.
The one that I'm using right now, I feel like would be perfect for me. It's like a light armor, a cape, but he's got it's called Windswept. It's literally, if I feathered my hair and layered it a little bit more, it would be perfect.
Like you just stepped out of a salon kind of look.
Yes. Oh, it's amazing. But yeah, no,
So you're on the 500. You're definitely in the 501st now. Everyone's working on a million costumes. So
yeah, no, for sure. But yeah, I fell in love with Cal back in 2019 when Fallen Order came out, and 4 years later I was like, I might not play it, and then the reviews started slowly trickling in of like, it's a broken game currently, but they're gonna patch it, and it's a really fun time. So I finally caved, and I downloaded it, and it's blown me away so far.
How far have you gotten in it?
I am 12 and a half hours in now. So, yeah.
Well, that doesn't say a lot, because you could do all these random side quests and still stay on the first planet.
Yeah, I don't even know. I'm on the second planet for the second time. I don't want to spoil it for anyone who hasn't played it. So, but if you have, what
second planet or the moon?
The second planet.
Okay.
Are you playing it, Ken?
Yes, sir.
Really? What do you play? Are you playing on PS5 or Xbox?
PS5. Yeah, I had to turn in my PS4 to get the PS5 because we didn't have a PS5. And the only reason we got the PS4 is for Battlefront when it came out.
Yeah,
there we go.
I got an Xbox One for the first Battlefront. So,
and I had said I wasn't going to get the PS5 and all that kind of stuff, but then when they announced Survivor, we went into the GameStop nearby and said, "Oh, we'd like to, prepay for the Survivor." Oh, which system? Xbox One or whatever it is, the new Xbox or the new PlayStation? We don't have a new PlayStation. Well, you can't get it on PlayStation 4. I'm like, of course you can't.
The sad part is the trade-in they give you, though.
Oh yeah, I mean,
like, because like Zoe, they give her like $75 for hers that she had just bought last fall. I felt bad for her, but I was like, look, you do what you want to do. But I couldn't commit to buying it because I still haven't finished, and the story mode is so small. I still haven't finished Battlefront 2. It's
With
I think
every
it's
minute you do that is another minute you're not doing something else.
yeah. I miss video games, but I don't know. It's just one of those things that's kind of fell by the wayside.
Honestly, the Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor games are worth it.
Well, I played Falling Order, but when I got stuck on the train with a stupid biker scout, it just annoyed me.
Hold on. The first 10 minutes of the game?
Yeah, I was just like, you know, I kept killing the guy and not doing so. Like I like the old Battlefront, the ones from years ago that Lucas Arts made. I just like games where I can just sit down and start shooting stuff.
Yeah.
Well, the one thing I will say for Survivor is it's gorgeous.
It looks really nice.
Like I don't understand how it works. There's this one scene where you're on this desert planet and you've got this sunset or sunrise or whatever and sand blowing and like I don't understand how they do that. Like it looks amazing, absolutely amazing.
Yeah. I wouldn't know because I'm playing it on PC. And PC is, if anyone knows anything about playing console built games on a computer, it is either 1,000 times better or it's 1,000 times worse.
Yeah.
So the PC port was clearly not well thought out. So I've been dealing with patches and updates and this and that. Now the game is finally playable, but there are some points where it's like, oh, cool, the textures either look like garbage or they haven't loaded in.
Yeah, I was a PC gamer in the early 90s, like big into it. And then it got to be, it's when GameStop was called Electronics Boutique. You remember that, Ken? And it seemed like every week you had to go in and see what graphics card you had to buy for the new games. It was just like a constant upkeep. And then when the first Xbox came out, I was like, yeah, I'm just switching over.
Yeah, I just like PC because it's always backwards compatible.
Yeah. Well, and then I discovered Macs in 2002, and I like my Macs. So I know they're not good for gaming, but for editing and all that other good stuff, I'll take my Mac over any PC.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate for me. My Mac is no longer upgradable.
Right, but if you had a PC that age, it wouldn't be runnable.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true.
I mean, I have a laptop that's 2 years old right here, a PC one, and it's a nightmare. And this Mac is a 2010 Mac I'm running right now. So.
Oh, so you probably have the same problems that my dad does because that's what he uses. He's got a 2010 iMac.
Yeah.
So can't do anything but get on the internet for the most part.
Well, no, I put more memory in mine. It's upgraded pretty good. My Mac upstairs is a newer one. The 3 Macs down here are not good. And then I have a giant Mac right there.
Oh, geez.
I just have it has a bad hard drive. So as soon as I feel like popping the monitor out, I'll put a new hard drive in it.
Yeah. Now, upgrading the memory, I thought it was all soldered to the motherboard.
No, there's two. Depending on the Mac, there should be a port right on the bottom. If you flip it over, is it a silver one or a white one?
It's a silver one.
There's a vent. If you reach right under there, 2 screws, you can put memory in right there.
Oh, that would be a lifesaver.
So, which would make, and the other thing with the Macs, you have, hey, there's Anthony's on there. Hey, Anthony.
Hey, good to see you.
The 2 things on the Mac, you have to keep the top end of your hard drive empty because it borrows that space.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, that's pretty much, it seems like there's a lull into Star Wars right now. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah.
No, I mean they've got some stuff, but it's not the big heavy hitting stuff.
Yeah. Like I've been trying to I've been trying to read some of the comic books for High Republic. And I think I'm just going to have to go to video or audiobooks for them, because some of the comic books I'm just going to have to listen to podcasts on them because I just don't have time. But like I want to get High Republic caught up and more Troop Time, and then some of the people like the guy who played the pirate, he said he'll do Zoe's show.
Really?
Yeah, the guy that the pirate that
Marty.
huh?
His first name is Marty. He plays Vane.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He's the pirate, that give him all the lip, the one that didn't die.
Yeah. The
He
one
was
from
the nicest
Skeleton Crew.
person. Like he seems so happy just to be there and talk to fans.
Well, he played a very pivotal role in The Mandalorian.
And he's going to and he said, well, he lives in Oregon. We were talking to him, and he said he's gotten more work living in Oregon than when he lived in LA. So I don't know what that means. Yeah, we're in the same boat with that one.
See, it's not a problem when you don't read.
Yeah, I've been trying to get caught up on Star Wars podcasts because there's so many people putting out like celebration podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like that list we have for podcast day. That's gone out the window because I can't keep up with the stuff I've tried to keep up with, and then I'm still trying to get this CreatorCast fired up. So no skeleton trail. Yeah,
I thought they released that.
but the trailer that we saw, I don't think it did yet. But I don't know.
Wait, hold on. Was it just Ahsoka and Indiana Jones? Were those the only two trailers that they released?
I think so.
Oh.
And the Ahsoka one was a modified version of what we saw.
Right.
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't do Skeleton Crew or even anything with the Acolyte.
Yeah, the Acolyte, they haven't done that either.
Yeah, well, they're still in early post-production, right?
I think so. But that Acolyte trailer was awesome.
Oh, I'm excited.
So,
speaking of things being in production, did you guys see all of the drama that's happened over the last week with Andor Season 2?
What about? Was it about the writer's strike thing?
So, Tony Gilroy, originally, when the writer's strike started, he said that he was going to stay on, but only as an executive producer.
Right.
And apparently that caused quite the stir with the Writers Guild. And they were calling for his head and basically strong-armed him into... He is now no longer doing any sort of... he's not involved with Andor Season 2 at the moment.
Well, I understand their point, because I think it would be hard if you're a dual-rolled person like that to just... because if other than director's notes, you're not supposed to give them any other notes based on the script. And
Right.
If you're doing a dual role, you could just do it and not even realize it. So I understand part of that. Partially, I mean, I'm a little upset about that strike part, just because it's gonna, I mean, I guess it's not going to affect you and I like monetarily or whatever. We're just going to have to wait for shows and stuff. But for Zoe going into the industry, it is kind of a pain because she has to kind of put her life on hold.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think long term, if they don't do something about it now, it could. I don't know if we want our writers and stuff to become a bit economy, So I don't think we want the Uber version of writers. But that's just me. And it seems like everybody's supporting, the thing. Yep, that's Anthony's exactly. That's
Yeah.
Anthony, like for the AI. So I'll be the first to admit that I was mildly wrong. Like when AI came out, I thought, oh, this is a really cool toy and this and that. But then as a computer guy, when you look at that AI, it technically isn't really artificial intelligence to the point. It's basically just like a high-ended search engine in a sense. I mean, it still uses artificial intelligence, but it's kind of hard to say it's true intelligence when it basically can just plagiarize so well that you're not telling it plagiarizes.
Right.
So, because if you were becoming a writer and you read all these works of people and it influenced how you write it, that's way different than you plagiarize, because the computer doesn't learn in nuances. The computer remembers every single thing. Like if
Mhm.
you read The Hobbit 50 times, you're still going to forget parts of the book, but it might influence you as a writer. If the computer reads it one time, it remembers sentence structure, everything, and then it generates. So, I think it's a good thing. I think, and I know I'm slightly biased. I came from a union family all my life. Like almost every member of my family was in some sort of union. So I have a strong respect for like unions and guilds and all that kind of stuff. So I'm not happy that it's happening, but like Anthony said, I'm happy it's happening now. So, but I'm not happy for my kid. But she'll be home longer, so that's a selfish win for me.
Right. Yeah, I thought it was interesting that they, the internet was essentially able to bully him into stepping out.
Yeah. Well, again, I think, and maybe it's just because I'm a teacher, sometimes appearance and what you do, even if he was able to separate it, that short-term gain of working on Andor could have hurt him long term,
Mm-hmm.
in the sense that, because if one person like that thinks that they're kind of getting away with it, then that could push other people to take those steps, and then that could just weaken. And then eventually we just be getting crappy Star Wars stories because the AI would be copying it from old Marvel comic books from the 80s, where Luke, Han, and Leia just went on adventures like the A-Team with a big rabbit.
Yeah, but who knows? There might be some people out there that would like that because it wouldn't "quote unquote" subvert expectations.
That'd be true.
Hey,
The
I want
don't
my clone Luke
Luke.
stories.
yeah, hey, don't discount Jackson. I'm still fingers crossed. I want to see Jackson in live action.
The bad part is Jackson is not the worst part of the EU.
No,
And when you say a giant rabbit is not the worst part of the EU, that's rough.
he was cool.
See, yeah, I just honestly, my EU knowledge was just so little. Hey, we haven't seen Fordo in forever, so
Yeah.
I'm wondering if we're ever going to get a gallery of Mando season 3
yeah, I hope so.
or the art of book or anything like that. I mean, they didn't do one for Book of Boba Fett. They haven't done one for Andor yet. Although I recently I thought I heard or thought I read that they were going to release the scripts for the first season of Andor.
Oh yeah, I did see that. You know what? Sometimes I know this makes me sound old, but sometimes my favorite place to go is like Barnes and Noble. Their magazine racks. A lot of times they'll have those like big like picture books from different shows.
Oh
and
yeah,
stuff.
I
And
picked up one the other day for the A-Team.
wait a minute, did you say A-Team?
The A-Team,
Oh, that's
Mr. T
cool.
and everything.
All right. Oh, okay. So Anthony got the perfect segue. I'm going to put this to podcast talk. I didn't realize how many people didn't like season 3 of
Oh my
Mandalorian.
goodness, there are people that hated it.
That's what I mean. I feel like I'm deja vu for the Phantom Menace again, because I went and saw the Phantom Menace and I loved everything about it. And then on this new fledgling internet, they were starting to tell me that people didn't like it. And then I've been listening to these podcasts, and people that I respect, podcasters I respect, were really just like complaining about.
Yes, like weak storylines and
Yeah,
the
I was
and
like,
the fans or
season
the
slow. Did I accidentally watch season 2 again?
like all sorts of stuff. Like they put Jack Black in it, and it took me out of Star Wars, and like all this ridiculousness.
See, and I know there was, whatever. The Jack Black Lizzo story, I loved it for a couple reasons. I liked it that they made The Mandalorian like Law and Order. It was like a cop show. It was like a buddy cop show. They had like, like it was funny. And then I think Jack Black and Lizzo, like, think of a time capsule 10, 15 years from now. Like that stamp it put on, like with them on the show. You know what I mean?
Well, and like I just don't understand the need to tear it all apart, or to say that that the quote unquote story was weak, or it wasn't about Din, or there wasn't enough Grogu, or like, how about you take what's there and observe what's there and figure out ways of how it connects and how it advances technology or advances this.
Yeah.
you know
And Anthony has a good point of people having fun. Like, I love the ending with Grogu and him in that house. Like, some people are like, "Oh,"
the little like shrink in or whatever it's called, the iris in.
but what I like is they set that up for exactly what people said they wanted in the show
From season 1.
Yeah, because people are like, "Well, I just want to see him do more adventures and this and that." Well, now he can have an adventure of the week. Like, because he can leave Grogu if he needs to. He can take Grogu if he needs to. It's
Yes, and I think our buddy Steven is right that they're going to have all of this culminate into some sort of big event on Mandalore with Dave Filoni's movie.
Which there was some news today.
what is it?
Wait a minute, we forgot to get our tinfoil hats. That was our only homework
yeah.
assignment, and we failed miserably.
There was Dave Filoni did say that Thrawn is going to be the big bad
In the movie?
of the movie.
Okay.
So I'm just saying, I will take my. You were right. You said it was.
I don't know. I'm not trusting anything because they had us.
Is that what you said it was, though? I don't know if that's what you said it was.
I said Thrawn is going to be the big bad. It's a two-parter. It's a two-parter. I said Thrawn was going to be the big bad, and it was going to be called Heir to the Empire.
That's the part that I pushed back on. That's going to be called Heir to the Empire.
I think. What if Thrawn is the armorer?
A cross-dressing villain? I don't know.
I'd take it. I'd take it over Rook Cast because I was dead wrong on that one, or at least for now.
Yeah, I did. I'm just happy with. I was happy. The armorer with her jetpack. It's. I don't know. Maybe I'm not the right age to be my age, because I hear all these people my age complaining about all this stuff, and these are the same people that think Dukes of Hazzard and Knight Rider and A-Team are such great shows, which they are in their own right. But watch one of those shows, and then you tell me what are you missing? You know what I mean?
What are you talking about? The Dukes of Hazzard is a timeless masterpiece. It stands up to today. Are you kidding me?
I don't know. So let me rephrase the Dukes of Hazzard. You have two ex-con drug dealers, even though they were moonshine dealers, being chased by the cops. Put that. If someone tried that show today, people would lose their minds.
What? No.
And then they tie sticks of dynamite to a bow and arrow.
They've done like a whole series called Narcos, so they glorify, or what was it, Breaking Bad? They glorify drug dealers.
Yeah. No, but I'm saying, like, think of all the things they do. It's just I like all those shows. I like Dukes of Hazzard. I like Chips.
We need to bring back Airwolf.
Airwolf.
Blue
Oh
Thunder.
man, Airwolf. Remember the one that was short-lived? It was a motorcycle, but it was similar to Knight Rider.
Was that the Wraith?
Huh?
What was that?
No, it was a TV show where the guy had some special motorcycle and suit, but they were trying to be like Knight Rider, and it was pretty silly.
That's awesome.
But
Come on,
we got
Mike.
Kit this weekend.
Say again?
We got to see the car, Knight Rider's car.
Really?
Yeah.
I have a video
Screen
of
used.
Sassy in front of it.
Oh God, I would. What I wouldn't give to have Kit, because he was what, a 1989 Firebird, or is it?
Oh, I think it was before '89 because Knight
Or-
Rider came
no.
out when I was in high school. I graduated in '86.
What was Kit? I know he was a Firebird.
Yeah, he had to be. I would guess early '80s though.
It was a Trans Am.
Yeah,
No,
That's what it was.
it was actually a Pontiac Firebird dressed up like a Trans Am.
right. Because it was probably cheaper. They're like, I just,
It was an
Yeah,
82.
Anthony makes a good point that people just want to get attention online. Yes, we're gonna wear speedos all next week, so we can get more attention on
Well,
here.
yeah.
My neighbors own a General Lee. Yeah. Roscoe cars too. That's funny.
Where are you getting those chats? I don't see that. Oh, okay, I just saw it now.
You're behind the eight ball.
I got
Ken.
the chat. According to this thing, it says we're getting chats from 3 different locations. So, but they look like they're all coming from YouTube. Oh, they used to ride them in a parade. That's cool.
Mm.
Well, no, I mean, but what's nice is like the Bad Batch and stuff. You could tell that's pattern after the A-Team. I mean, that's pretty. That's pretty spot on for a good modern take of the A-Team kind
I
of.
actually have that on my list of themes for the Rambling Star Wars fan this year.
Yeah, oh yeah,
Comparing the Bad Batch to the A-Team.
yeah. It just seems reminiscent of the A-Team because I remember watching the A-Team
Yeah, every episode for the most part was a side mission. It was, they're hired by this family in Podunk, Tennessee to do this thing, and then they because even the opening was if you're ever in need,
yeah.
that kind of thing, you call the A-Team, and then it's
They were in the LA Underground, but they drove the most conspicuous van ever.
yeah.
Yeah. If you really want to see a generational gap, I have not seen the A-Team show in its entirety,
Yeah.
but I have seen the 2009 movie with Liam Neeson more times than I can count.
Well, you know what? That movie was I thought was a good redo of.
What's funny is I've never seen the movie.
Yeah,
What?
I fell asleep during it one time, and I never started it
as a
again.
TV show. Like sometimes the A-Team out MacGyvered MacGyver, But see, I don't know if the A-Team would play well now, because in the '80s, like we didn't have like mass shootings like we have now and all this. So you could let your kids just, hey, look at the good guys just spraying machine gun fire all over the place. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's just one of the things that didn't age well.
There was always a Jeep that flipped over.
Yeah,
And my
because it hit some
grandfather-
sort of ramp, and it went.
Yeah,
and
it would always
launched.
hit something and flip over. But my grandfather would always point out, he'd say, look, that car has hubcaps. I was like, what's that mean? He said, that car is going to wind up getting blown up. Because you could tell, like, if it was a nicer car, it wasn't going to get blown up. But if there was a car with, like, missing hubcaps or beat up rims, he's like, and it almost always that was the car that got blown up or, so. But
Yeah,
that's
I don't remember the critics back then talking about how bad the storyline was.
Yeah,
What a-
no, I see, and it's funny because the just bringing it back to Star Wars, and I think Anthony did hit it on a point where people were just trying to get attention. I think what disturbed me this last week and a half, and maybe because it was falling on May 4th, and I was going into my post-celebration depression of not having celebration. You know what I mean? It was like that. It was all that. But I was listening to podcasters who I've seen forever and I've liked, and they just started railing on The Mandalorian. And I'm like, I don't know,
It's funny you mention it. I think I stifled the post-celebration depression somehow.
Oh, good.
It never hit me because I was thinking, I'm like, all
'Cause
right,
you're still trooping. You're still doing Star Warsy stuff.
right. So like I've been working on Bo-Katan. I've been
Wait a minute. That's why you don't have the post. You have a Bo-Katan at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, no, that there is always that. However, I think I stifled it because I think a month later, if the other shoe hasn't dropped yet, I think we're in the clear.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
just like for me, it was you know, I don't think I had it other than I just like I said, I turned on my regular podcasts. You know,
Well, even some of the folks that, and I mean, I don't know how famous the podcasts are that you listen to, but there's some other folks that have just gone off the rails, like when it comes to, tearing into the makers of Star Wars now.
yeah. Well, and the Anthony said the Jack Black was a throwback to the Goofy Mystery of the Week '80s. Yeah, it was. It definitely was.
And if you're looking for an equivalent of MacGyver, all you got to do is look at Tech.
Yeah, Tech would be a good MacGyver. Even Han Solo, though.
That's who I was gonna say.
I was thinking a lot about Han Solo this week. I don't know why. Maybe because every time I'm working on cars, that's what keeps me from going insane. I always think of Han Solo working on cars, but I still, man, and after seeing Return of the Jedi, oh V, that's a good one. Those lizard people, the first time I saw it, freaked me out when I was a kid. But when I still think of Han Solo at New Hope, he was such an idiot. Like he was like everyone's bad uncle that gets paid and then spends all his money before he gets home on Friday and doesn't have any, and he's broke that next day. He had all the money to pay Jabba. He helped them blow up the Death Star. He literally, how long was the hyperspace jump to Tatooine? In the beginning of the movie, it was like 7 minutes long. He could have just zipped in, paid Jabba, and come right back. But he wanted to be part of that big celebration. And with Jedi, just saw Jedi again. I'm sorry, but the plan to rescue Han, if anyone's talking about any of these new shows, I want them to put that part of Return of the Jedi under the same scrutiny. Because how in God's name was that plan ever going to work?
Yeah, I mean, any of the plans really. If you look at any of the details for any of the plans,
Yeah. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, and it's a great movie, but people didn't pick it apart.
well, not to the degree that they did now.
Yeah.
I think it's because there's so much. I think that there's enough to sink your teeth into, so they can start pulling it apart.
I guess.
So, and it sucks because there is so much, and the three of us, we love it. Like,
Well, even
please give me more.
yeah, I mean, because you could. So, A New Hope came out in '77, and folks have said that part of it was, based on portions of George Lucas's life. It wasn't completely about his relationship with his dad, but you could make some of those parallels, some of those connections, or whatever. If you take the time to explore John Favreau's life and the things that he's experienced in comparison to some of the stuff that has shown up in the 3 seasons of The Mandalorian, you can also pick pieces from that show that correspond with John's life. So they're similar in that nature, but that's not what's getting the attention. That's not what's getting the emphasis. It's all of the, well, Christopher Lloyd was in it, and the yeah, there was too much emphasis on Bo-Katan and not enough emphasis on Din Djarin, and what a bad father he was because he let Grogu drive around heavy equipment, and Din wasn't even his first name, and now we got we were misled this whole time with his name. Like, what are you talking about, crazy people?
Yeah. That's I mean, and here's three of us probably take Star Wars way more seriously than some of these other people do. And I don't feel like it jeopardized my livelihood or I mean my whole life process or something. I don't know.
Because it was I think it was yesterday I saw an article where somebody said that they heard about a deleted scene, and the deleted scene would have undone the unnecessary plot line from season 3. I'm like, what What? What are you talking about? It's just so weird.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like people, no matter what, people are gonna nitpick whatever they put out.
I mean,
Yeah.
So
we had a live action jetpack fight scene where the armorer was using her gravity hammer to take out fools, and Bo-Katan's flying around with a dark saber. Like, what?
Yeah.
Live action, like the
Yeah.
live action. We're seeing spaceships flying during the sunlit day in the planet's atmosphere.
Yep.
You know, you've got these giant space crocodile turtle things, giant dinosaur birds. Like,
Well,
it's crazy
yeah.
awesome.
Oh yeah. Just it's unbelievable. I just can't wait to see what they do. Like I do think some of it, like when the guy who played Boba Fett was complaining. I didn't see the whole interview, so I just saw what people were cutting out of it. But he was complaining that he didn't get on Mando season 3.
Tamura Morrison,
Yeah.
he's probably just taking the piss.
No, but also
just
I think it was
joking.
taken out of context. I didn't see the whole interview, so
Gotcha.
probably someone asked him a question. Oh, what did you think about Mando stealing the show? Just like tongue in cheek, and he probably answered it tongue in cheek.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, yeah,
Because he also seems like
British
one of those people that
taking the
knows
piss.
where his bread is buttered. You know what I mean? Like, no one was knocking down his door, but I think some people put too much weight in that. Just like when Mark Hamill had said some things, you didn't get the whole context of it. And when it boils down to it, he's just an actor. Like he's a paid performer. He's not the writer. And like this, the writer's strike is proving that. Like, you need these people write and develop these characters for the person who portrays them. Watch any interview with Harrison Ford, and you realize Harrison Ford has benefited from wonderful writers.
Except not the early stuff, because many of the times they had the words that he couldn't say
Right. But I'm
easily,
saying,
like the Navi computer and stuff.
but as much as they knock on George Lucas's, the words that they couldn't say in the 70s, we all say now. Like, we can all say Tatooine and lightsaber.
Coruscant. Well,
Yeah.
even the fact that there are times where I refer to my GPS on my phone as my Navi computer.
Right.
It's become part of my regular language because I'm that kind of a mega dork.
So, oh, Ken, the pirate guy from Sunday,
Hmm.
and he built that one Lego ship, and he signed it. Zoe answered the question right, and he gave it to her.
Cool.
So she got the Lego ship of the pirate. He signed it, and Safi got.
I missed. When did that happen?
That was so right before we suited down, and the girls, we walked through, and then we were coming back to shop, and that's when I just spaced out and left. But it was right before we left. But
So you came back in?
Yeah, we came back in just to see Chris in Safi's street clothes, and then I spaced, dude. I was like,
yeah, big time.
I was the worst friend to Ken all the way around. I felt bad, but I was just a terrible person that day. But I'm sorry. I just, because I wanted to stop by and see Howard and Dan and you, and I actually wanted to get a picture of the Batmobile, and I just totally forgot all of it. So I didn't get to see Don's daughter in the white droid. I didn't know if she ever got it on.
Yeah, I didn't see the.
Did she ever get K3PO on?
I didn't see anyone. I saw the suit there on the rack, but I didn't see anyone in it.
Yeah, I saw him trying to put it on. It didn't look like she was enjoying putting it on. So if you're not enjoying putting it on, it's a hard suit to wear. So, but yeah, I don't know. I'm just disappointed in this moment. My podcast. I have to rethink some of my support to podcasts until they're done bitching about shows.
Well, I think bitching is fine as long as you balance it, because it's not all crap.
Well, that's what I would just it. I think it wasn't the bitching part as it. I felt like it was just piling on. Like you remember for Phantom Menace, it was just an easy pile on. People would be like, and they would just say Jar Jar Binks. Like that. It was almost like you would say it, and then you knew you set the tone. And that's what it seemed like, because they said the same stuff that I heard on. It's like one person complained, and I guess someone thought, hey, look, they got a lot of likes for that. I'm going to use that same statement.
Well, kind of like with Andor. When Andor came out, everybody piled on the volume and said it's awful. And then,
Oh yeah.
you watch season 3 of The Mandalorian. Try to tell me that the volume is crap. Like, just try it.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense.
Well, people were complaining about R5. I was like, what? That was some of the best.
And I think they're missing one of the most basic points of all of it, and it's supposed to be fun.
Yeah.
Like it's the Jack Black episode, to me, was the best example of Star Wars weirdness in so many glorious ways.
Yep.
Whether you're talking, there were entire scenes where it was like a herd of robots, animatronic robots, people dressed like robots. Like, come on, like it's the weirdness of Star Wars amped up to the nth degree, because now they have the technology to do even more of it. It was, and
Well,
even
and
just
the
the
mouse-
set.
There's
the
a
mouse
couple
droids.
That's the
They
best.
they took the mouse droids and made the mouse droids even cooler by giving them sirens and flashing lights.
Well, and then not to mention the death of what's his name battling the. Like I think that got missed too. Like that was a horrible and
Pax
cool,
Vizsla.
yeah, that was a horrible and cool death scene.
Yeah. Well, let's think about this. So it was on Disney Plus,
Yeah.
a show for kids, and that guy got gored in 3 different ways, like a bull in a bullfight.
Yeah.
And like, okay, this family show.
And like
Let's
Zoe said, that poor Ragnar got orphaned like 3 times or something. Like if he was a foundling, and then he got captured by a bird and almost killed, and then his dad gets killed.
and not just captured by a bird, but like swallowed by said bird,
Yeah.
who then regurgitated him in an attempt to feed him to its children. Like there was so much glorious weirdness in season 3 of The Mandalorian, and so much fantastic storytelling and development of characters, and it was wonderful, absolutely wonderful.
And all the throwbacks. Like I was thinking of that bird episode. That was like Jason and the Argonauts. That was very reminiscent of that. That's probably you probably never saw that, John, but that was the special effects we had before Star Wars.
Yeah, the Ray Harryhausen stuff, and even so there was the bird, but how about that giant spider creature droid thing?
Oh yeah.
That stabbed Din in the neck and was sucking out his life juice.
Yeah, that was I forgot all about that. That was a good episode too.
And the fact that this you're once again live action, and you're seeing the ruined cities on Mandalore.
Yeah.
You're seeing this glassy landscape that a creature bursts out of the ground on. I mean, it's jetpack combat.
Well, all the ship to ship combat, like that asteroid field with the pirates. Like,
And when they were flying around the asteroids, they were mining on the asteroids as the ships were flying around it.
yeah,
Like what is there really to complain about when you're and it showed up in your living room?
well, and you know what I because I think back about season 3 and that asteroid scene, I liked it that you knew that the bad guys knew Din was going to get them all. Like it was at first they thought they had him, and then it was pretty quickly they realized, oh crap, we're in some deep. And I like that feeling.
So are you talking about Moff Gideon's bad guys or the pirate
The
bad
pirate
guys?
bad guys.
So the pirate bad guys were steering a giant space pirate ship using a wheel. And there was an Ugnaught dressed in a sweater that kind of looked like Shmee from Captain Hook. Like it was so weird that it was gorgeous and fantastic, and even that spaceship itself, that crazy design with the black and white stripes, and
Yeah, yeah,
looking like something. I don't think we've ever seen anything really in Star Wars that looked like that. Not that kind of design.
yeah, yeah. That was just, you know, and they left so many stories open that they could do so much more without making you feel unsatisfied.
And they did a great job of, speaking of those other stories connect to the bigger world.
Yeah.
So they teased the Empire, they teased the First Order, they teased, the Republic, the what was Carson Teva's his group, um the Rangers or whatever.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
So there's so many branches that were coming off of this, some of them tied to larger stories, and then others that could be its own series, or its own, 2 or 3 episode arcs or whatever.
And we got Zeb.
Yeah, live action Zeb with
He would
Steve Bloom's voice.
he would have been the last one. Like if someone said make a list of all the order of people you're going to see live action from animated, Zeb would have been low on my list.
Yeah, I think he would have been right above that small general who rode around in the droids during
Gaston or whatever it was like.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, General Gaston or something. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
Who's kind of like Scuba Steve in Jedi Survivor.
yeah. Yeah, that was a surprisingly really good too. Now that bar that the pilots are in, how long do you think until they put that bar at Galaxy's Edge?
I say
Oh,
give it 6 months.
I mean, they have room to expand at Galaxy's Edge. That could be, down the path, because they had other attractions planned for Galaxy's Edge that just never made it. There was actually going to be a ride, kind of like a you're riding on an animal sort of thing,
Oh, nice.
like a petting zoo, but it was going to be all animatronic creatures and stuff like that. But that didn't make it into the finished product. But there's still possibility for that.
Hmm.
But yeah, I think that that bar would be a fantastic addition to Batu, or something like an additional one beyond Oga's, because right now it's such a challenge to get in there.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I just like that. I just like that the pilots look like real pilots, like off-duty pilots.
Well, except Filoni, he looks like Filoni, like
Yeah, he looks like Filoni.
hat and everything. Like,
Yeah. Well, I mean, they've established a cowboy hat with Cad Bane, so it's not like out of the question, you know.
I just I thought season 3 was it took the weirdness up from season 2, took the weirdness up from the Book of Boba Fett. Um, and it brought us back to the wacky weirdness that is Star Wars. Like you said, the plans of Han Solo and any of the other ones were so ridiculous
Right.
that just in their idea, and they worked. And the idea of the third season, The Mandalorian, was so ridiculous, and it worked.
And we got to see Mandas. You said this before. The amount of Mandas that we see. Like I almost wish like you could write a synopsis of all these different episodes, travel back in time, like 15 years ago, and just poll Star Wars fans. Which of these would you like to see?
Well, how about Paul? Which of these things do you think you will see?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
the Mandalorian mercs, if you think about, how they start off because people like the look of it, but they never ever anticipated seeing it. And it wasn't until, what was it, season 4 of Rebels where or was maybe season 3 where they got a bigger viewing on screen, and now you've got, was it 50 or 60 on a screen at
And you got
one
custom
time.
Mandos. I mean, they're literally custom Mandos. You
And
know?
what's kind of funny about them is some of them, like Axe Woves or Casca Reeves, have names, and then there are others that just have. I thought there was one. It was Mandalorian Commander or something like that, and then the rest of them are nameless. I mean, even the Armorer, she doesn't have a name other than the Armorer. She
Yeah,
she has a nickname.
unless that's her real name, and it's like she's just like, well, I should just make armor. I was going to be a cook, but my
Like the blacksmith or
Yeah.
or the
I think her name should be Smitty. Maybe that'll be her real name. It'll be
Smitty D Armorer.
Yeah,
Armorer is her last name.
it'll be spelled with a whole bunch of extra letters like Kashyyyk and stuff.
And I
Yeah.
did think it was really funny to listen to people think. There was one episode called "The Spies," and not everyone, but many people were convinced that Axe Wolf was the spy, or
Oh yeah.
the Armorer was evil and was the spy, or whatever.
I gave up on the names of the episodes. I think season 2, because I felt like when I would hear the name, I would overthink the episode.
Well, that's kind of some of the fun of it too. I mean,
Yeah.
go back. You were mentioning the Phantom Menace. The Phantom Menace could have, multiple meanings just in that. I mean, some people think, oh, Phantom Menace was referring to Palpatine. Well, Phantom Menace could have also been Padme.
Right.
She played different roles, and you didn't know that she was this person when, and so on. So it's another wonderful throwback to how Star Wars was, that their names could mean so many different things depending on how you looked at it, depending on which details you were paying attention to.
Well, I mean, look no further than Return of the Jedi. I mean, it's fitting, 40th anniversary.
Yep.
Return of the Jedi, you think it means Luke, but it also means Leia and Luke
Vader.
rebuilding the Jedi Order and Vader. So, and Obi-Wan and Yoda came back at the end too. I mean,
Yep. And it was
With all the
40 years ago.
right.
There's that meme with all the kids that came back too.
Master Skywalker, there are too many of them. What are we going to do?
Speaking of younglings, has anyone seen the Young Jedi Adventures yet?
I have, yeah. I've just seen a few of them, but they're really good.
Does it end with Order 66?
I haven't seen that. That would be a terrible ending.
I don't know. I think it would be a fantastic callback to the greatest film ever created.
Well, this happened in the High Republic, right?
Oh yeah, that's High Republic time.
Boo.
They were pushing that at the Celebration, man. They had that stuff.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, if it was 15 years ago, I would have spent a lot of money buying that stuff because that stuff was pretty cool.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of that yet.
It's good. I mean, it's to me, it's very reminiscent of like the Ewok Adventures or the Droids cartoon.
Oh, that's cool. Just with better graphics.
Yeah, better graphics. I don't know if the stories are pretty good. I mean, it's good for kids. It's like good kids, cartoons.
Do you think they'll do a second season of the Jedi Temple Challenge?
I would love to see that. I would love to see the Jedi Temple Challenge Family Edition. Like you do like a parent and a kid. Like I think that would be cool to watch.
That could also be really dangerous because that some adults would take that to the extra level and like throw their kid across the challenge.
No, they would have to have it split. Like you couldn't do that. I mean, I got a lecture from Chris Bartlett for keeping Safi in her costume. And then Safi told me after, she said, "Dad, you never make me stay in a costume too long." So I felt good about that.
Keeping Safi in her costume for too long, as if she doesn't want to stay in the costume.
I think the other protocol droids get a little jealous of Safi because she does stay in it for so long. So
yeah, she's a trooper.
So
That's what Chris said.
Had you seen Safi in 000 before?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I couldn't remember.
Yeah, I saw her at one of the kids' cons or Brickfest, I think that might have been the first time that
she was toasty though.
Might have been the first time I met Marty.
Okay, and her hair was much longer, so it was a little difficult getting the neck piece on because her hair when she was younger, half her head was shaved bald, and she could just put her hair up. So
Of the episodes of Visions that you've seen, Mike, spoiler free, what have you liked about them?
I liked how they were all different. Like the other ones, the Visions 2 were all different too, but they kind of had that same flavor. Like they were like I felt like the first was like you were eating Starburst out of the same bag. You were getting a Starburst every time. It might have just been a different flavor. This I feel like I just got a big bucket of Halloween candy, and you're just reaching in blind. You
And
know?
it's all the good Halloween candy.
Yeah, yeah. It's not
I
like
mean, I thought every one of them was gorgeous
yeah,
and creative and wonderful. And the only spoiler I will say is that Wedge shows up.
yeah. Well, that's the one
Yeah.
we saw at Celebration.
Oh, you are okay. Sorry, I
Mhm.
didn't
We
do that.
saw that one itself, and I think that's now. I haven't watched the last one. I still think that's my favorite. I just think because it has a different feel to it. It's not heavy. Like it's kind of like the Jedi Rocks one or the Jabba band one in the
Yeah.
first season.
Oh, Tatooine Rhapsody.
Absolutely Rhapsody. It's not heavy, but it just has such a heartwarming. Like I was tearing up, like thinking of my wife and my wife's relationship with the girls when we saw it in London. So
So I am going to complain about one thing related to the Disney era Star Wars.
yes,
And that is I haven't had the opportunity to have had it in my life for 40 years.
I know.
I mean, one of the great things about things like Return of the Jedi and New Hope, we've had them in our lives for decades. And so we've been able to hear the music over and over and over again. We've had the opportunity to play with the toys over and over and over again. We have had the opportunities to watch the shows over and talk with people over and over and over again. And with this stuff, it's not there yet. Like I don't know all the background characters' names yet. I
Right.
don't know um, all of the songs that are played to the point where I can, hum the bars of them. That right now is my only complaint is that I don't have 40 years of experience with them yet.
And it's I feel like I don't even have time to do all that.
Yeah.
Like you know what I mean? Like
I can tell you one background character that we all know from the new stuff. That's Constable Zuvio.
Yeah.
Everyone knows Constable Zuvio.
For all the wrong reasons. Like, why? I have a toy and he was only in the movie for like.
you know what? Maybe to me he would be one that you'd stick on Andor or something like because that's sitting somewhere.
I thought they were. And this could just be a pipe dream, but I swear to God, I thought I saw something at Celebration that hinted at him actually making an appearance.
Wasn't he in the Creature Cantina?
I think he was on the stage.
That's probably it.
When they brought all those costumes out,
Yeah.
which were kind of weird because I understood why they brought them out, but that surprised me. They brought them out and then it didn't seem to do as much as I thought. I thought they were going to do more with those. Yeah, because they had a lot of them. They had the big guy that was sitting in the bar at Force Awakens and stuff.
I'm surprised it didn't have another like the Mandalorian experience. Like they had some big room set up. Like
I think it was space. There was a lot of empty space there, but they just weren't using like it wasn't like LA where you had all the buildings and stuff. I don't think they had a place that they could have kept it secure like they did in LA. Remember, like you had to go downstairs, or you didn't. I don't know if you.
Yeah, I wasn't there.
Yeah, you had to go, it was in its own like it was pretty much you could only get in one way and out one way.
Gotcha.
I just don't think
One
they had
way out.
space. They could have put it on that yacht that me and John were looking at.
They could have.
That's where
Missed
Katie. I'm
opportunity.
pretty sure that's where Katie Sackhoff and some of them stayed. Because
Really?
She posted up some pictures, and it looked like she was on a boat, but you could see the back end of London through it. That was out of our price range,
Oh yeah, definitely out of mine.
but
Well, gents, what else is there to talk about?
So when we get together next week, we better have tinfoil hats.
Okay.
2, we should all watch Visions by then, so we can talk about it in a little bit more detail.
Yep.
And 3, we should have some stuff related to Costume Corner. The only thing I did for Costume Corner is I'll use the word convinced. I convinced Heather to let me get another Dremel and some some attachments, like the long wand attachment that to get into the nooks and crannies a little bit better. So I have a new Dremel and some extra attachments to start doing more work on our her
Well,
Bo-Katan and my.
next time you're in my area, you got to go to the Ryobi outlet
Oh yeah, that's right. I keep forgetting that it's there.
because, like, I got my Ryobi Dremel. It's like the little tiny one and stuff, and it's beautiful, and they're cheap. They're like, half of what you pay everywhere else. So,
I wonder if there's a Ryobi outlet near me.
yeah, I would definitely check the Ryobi out because any major holiday like Memorial Day coming up, one Memorial Day, everything in the store was 50% off.
Holy schmoly!
And it wasn't like, oh, we jacked the prices up. It was just like, because I got my router table that I cut the notches in the
Cycler rifle.
rifles, where I cut the rifle notches. The table was $99. I got it for $49.
Nice.
So,
Mike, is it the Direct Tools factory
yep,
outlet?
tools, yes.
Awesome. There are 2 or 3 in reasonable distance.
Because I don't know anything about tools in that regard, but as if we're finishing up with Costume Corner, Ryobi tools for what all of us do are all you need. Like I'm sure if I was cutting like concrete blocks with stuff, and I probably want to buy like a Milwaukee or something like that. But the Ryobi stuff is really, really decent.
Yeah, does it cut through pine and EVA foam?
Yes, it cuts through pine and EVA foam. And Ken, I have 2 Dremels from them, 2 different types. One's like the big box with about a 3-foot cable on it, and that runs the Dremel. And then I got a smaller one with like a wire, not a like, it's an electrical wire. It's a lower. It runs about half speed, but it's a good detail one.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't realize that Ryobi made that many.
Yeah.
The
outlet has the most, because like a lot of times they'll get stuff that no one, like that little tiny one, unless you're doing like model trains and the stuff we do, it's probably not powerful enough. But like if I just need to like just do a 3D print and clean off some of that, it's beautiful for that because it doesn't get away from you, and all of a sudden you have a nice big gouge. And then have you ever used a detail sander?
Yes, but not in a while.
They have a Ryobi belt detail sander that's a battery pack.
Hold on.
Oh, cool.
Hold on. Before we go any further, I would like to point out the irony of this.
Yep, that's what I got. Yep.
That's the one thing I was looking at.
But I think I want to say I paid $69 for mine.
Really?
At the Ryobi outlet.
Huh.
So yeah, they were calling me Ryobi Kenobi because pretty much like all my tools now are Ryobi. Like, and I just bought a big LED light from them. It's just all the back, because then if I'm painting, like sometimes you're painting, it looks wonderful, and then you take it in like normal light, and you're like, oh crap, I missed the whole one side. So I have this nice big LED light that I can lay out.
That's awesome.
And I got I'm working on Sabine, and then I sent your stuff to you, Ken. I still got more stuff to print. I started printing some gauntlets for Rob from the Mando Mercs in PA.
Oh, really?
And because he wanted them upsized or whatever, and so I just scaled them up. He told me how long. I did the good old math calculations, and I scaled them to 112% because he wanted them 9 inches long because he's a really big guy. So
that's cool.
I'm telling you, man, you need to invest in Armor Smith.
I know I need to invest in a lot of things, and I'm my investment money is is sitting in a 2014 Volkswagen Bug right at the moment
Yeah.
in the driveway.
Well, when you do have $20 of, I think it's either 20 or $30.
Yeah,
It has saved me so much heartache in
yeah.
printing. It's not even funny.
Well,
Because
so certain things so when it comes to armor, I was having a discussion with someone about this is with protocol droids. If you scale a protocol droid, just the M files, you have to scale them all the same.
it was me. You were having that conversation with me.
But I was having someone. I think I was having it with Howard too. I was like, you have to find whatever part has to be the biggest, and then just scale it and squeeze yourself in the rest. Because I've seen too many protocol droids where they scale the top, but then the bottom's a little off, and they just look. You need that silhouette, and it's the same if you're not careful with Mandalorian stuff. I see guys scale their they won't scale everything of like their gauntlet, and they look skinnier. Like they have to have that same, scale factor to get that silhouette in a picture. And maybe that's just because I'm hanging around Marty too long. But those silhouettes make a nice, difference in your photos. So. And I still want to finish Din. That's the other thing. When you watch The Mandalorian, I am surprised not every Mando Merc is just a Din Djarin, because that is just such a cool set of armor,
I think they did a great job of making every custom look awesome. Like when
yeah.
when they dropped onto Navarro and did that little takeover and everything, like that was such a great scene, great set of scenes rather.
Yeah. Oh, and the paint schemes on all of those are beautiful.
Beautiful and weird. Like there was one like a green part and a blue part and a red stripe or whatever.
Well, if you follow Judah, he tells what he did it for. Like he was like, well, this reminded us of this, and they did them for reasons. Like there was a brother and sister, so they
they had their stripes were on the opposite sides.
Yeah.
And you were gonna say something before I interrupted you, John.
Yeah, are either of you in the Mando Mercs build group on Facebook?
No.
The one thing I thoroughly enjoyed about this season of The Mandalorian is watching all the people whinge about the CRLs in the Mando Mercs because of this season of The Mandalorian. Like, are pauldrons part of the CRL now? And like the one thought that always just ran through my head, like, yeah, they definitely updated the CRLs in the 20 minutes since this episode came out.
Well, I know when Sabine first hit, the Mando Mercs were freaking out because she didn't have all this armor. Like they were like, wait a minute, she doesn't have leg armor. She doesn't, because the first season she just had knee, elbow, shoulder, and chest. So
she was an outcast. She didn't have time to pack all of her things. It's
the
same reason Star-Lord didn't have his helmet in Guardians. Which, if you haven't seen yet, highly recommend it.
The girls want to go, but again, like I said, life is
cars.
I was between cars and everything else. Just like I just trying to explain to them, I need like human sleep. I'm off tomorrow because Zoe's graduation, but I was, well, I get to go to a 9 a.m. and a 5 a.m. graduation, so I'm excited, but I'm like, oh
PM,
man,
right? 5 p.m.
Yeah, there's a 9 a.m. for the entire Temple University, and then you go to the specific school at 5 p.m. for the art or the film school.
Why so spaced out?
Well, because they're all
Temple's pretty big.
There's all different schools, and it just happens.
Gotcha. So, are they doing it at the same stage, or
I'm just showing up, man.
You just work here.
At some point, we should also plan out our debate club episode.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to finish up, Ken, with your statement about your upcoming show. Okay, because I've been having podcast thoughts, and that when you were talking about people not liking a show and all this stuff, and I've gone back and forth on all the advice I should give, even though you didn't really ask for it anymore. I figured I'll give it to you for free. And I think I said before, like, record it and then just let it sit there, and then just if you ever want to put it on there. And then I listened to one of your episodes. I don't know if it was with Dexter or someone. I listened to that one again, and I was thinking, your show is so positive that I trust whatever you put out is going to come across at the most positive manner. And I don't think anyone will fault you on whatever you put out. That's my 2 cents.
Oh, thanks for that.
So
it's funny where you said put it on the shelf. So I have probably 3/4 to 4/5 of it already recorded.
mm-hmm.
Because what I did with that episode is I recorded it in bits. So there's the introductory bit, and there's the behind the scenes bit, and there's the response to the criticisms bit. And so I've recorded many of them, but not all of them. And then for whatever reason, within the last 3 weeks, I just got this overwhelming sense of, am I the right person to be putting this out? Who's going to listen to this, first of all? And then second, are the people that do listen to it, they're most likely going to be people I talk to on a regular basis. And many of them have, dumped a whole lot of criticism in my pocket related to the movie. And will they hear my stuff and think that I'm talking only about them in my response to the criticism? And the things that they criticize aren't unique to them. So like you were saying earlier about Jar Jar Binks, many people had a Jar Jar Binks hating comment.
Yep.
So there wasn't many unique ones, with the exception of the one person who I talked with about The Last Jedi and said that it's so unrealistic because they never show a bathroom. So that one guy knows that he's the one guy who has complained about not having a bathroom in
It's a
Star Wars. And
refresher
that,
anyway.
yeah. But other than that, the criticisms are very generic, but I'm still hesitant because I don't want folks to feel like I'm criticizing their criticism, and that's not what the episode's meant to be about. It's just meant to be, from my perspective, here's the criticism, and here's a response to the criticism. It's not saying that the criticism is wrong. It's just that this is the other side to that coin. So we're talking about the same thing from a different angle.
Yeah.
Can I
Tough one.
make
Because your show is, I don't think it will come across that way. But I understand what you're saying. Yeah, and unless, what if you took your reverse angle and just did a whole show on that, and didn't acknowledge the criticism?
Yeah, that could be a different. Yeah, that could be a different.
Or
approach.
take all your stuff you recorded and just play it backwards. Just backward mask the whole thing.
Yeah, some of the devil.
Ken, there's one thing that I do want to point out, and I this is why I think that no matter what there's nothing you could say in the podcast that would make me think any differently of you. And it's because you said you recorded everything in bits, and that's where you and I differ with the solo shows. I will press record and I will let everything just be stream of conscious. So I think the fact that you're planning more or less what you're going to say, and you're very careful about how you navigate your words, I think that's why I don't think you should have a problem releasing it. And that's just my 2 cents.
Yeah,
but
I absolutely appreciate that as well.
So, or record the good part and then record yourself saying the criticism, but put yourself in black, like black out your thing and modulate your voice.
Oh yeah,
and put a little thing down. Critic,
Yeah,
critic.
yeah.
So, yeah. It's, and I know it's stupid, but I and I try not to be this way. But when I hear people, I don't know. I felt like, especially the last new movie, I felt like there was just a lot of bandwagoning. Like it was just, and I remember, like, because I used to say this, and I just got out of the conversation with people because I got tired of it. But when they talked about, was it Rise of Skywalker was the last one or the second one?
The second one was Last Jedi.
The Last Jedi. When people were complaining about how bad it did, and then they talked about Solo and all of this stuff. And I used to say my only criticism over the new Star Wars movies were if someone made me said, "Look, you have to tell me what you like. What's the one thing?" I personally think that when they picked JJ for the first movie, they should have made him commit to 3. You know, that would be my only criticism. But it didn't make the movies bad. It just, but then when people start like criticizing stuff that would not pass the criticism test for all the other movies, I think that's what irritates me the most. If that makes any sense.
Oh yeah, I'm with you on that. And going to the JJ thing, which I think is an interesting one. I thought they had attempted that, and JJ said no,
Yeah.
and so
See,
that's what.
I think when Disney bought it, I don't think they realized the giant they were waking up when they re-released. Because they had Marvel, and Marvel had some success, but not like when Force Awakens came out, man. That like stopped everything.
You betcha.
And I don't think they realized that.
So go flash back to when the first Iron Man movie came out.
Yeah.
Yes, we had some Hulk movies and X-Men movies and things like that. But before then, we had like the Reb Brown Captain America.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so you got Reb Brown Captain America versus, Robert Downey Jr. Iron Man. And they're like wildly different. But with Star Wars, the newer stuff is just as weirdly fantastic as the original stuff and the prequel trilogy stuff.
Yep. Well, and I don't think you could have got a more likable character than Daisy Ridley. Like,
and people found fault with that. I mean, they even used that old school term of the Mary Sue.
yeah.
But wait a minute. In the very first movie, the hero was able to make photon torpedoes go 90 degrees down a hole that was pushing out. Like,
and he could fly an X-wing nearly perfect. No. Besides that, they stuck some kid they didn't know in a flight suit and give him a fighter within minutes.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So
yeah. This costume fits you. You go out and fly it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think that's the stuff that irritated me. If someone said, "Look, hey, I didn't like the Kylo Ren character for X, Y, and Z," as long as you couldn't, I don't know. I don't know, because like to me, if you look at Darth Vader in New Hope and you count his screen time, he wasn't really in the movie that much.
No.
And
the Emperor was only mentioned.
Yeah. So I guess it's tough to make the criticisms of people's criticisms, but then it seems like there is a growing number of people that just like to criticize as long as you don't criticize them.
Yeah, or even, going back to what I was saying, I'm not even criticizing the criticizer, the critic. I'm not criticizing the critic. I'm just offering another view of the same thing. So for instance, season 3 of The Mandalorian, people have said that they were upset because they didn't focus as much on Din Djarin. Okay. And they focused on Bo-Katan. They focused on the Armorer. They focused on 2 different groups of Mandalorians coming, 3 if you count the scavengers that were on Mandalore itself. And Din's story was woven through there.
Well, he was the uniter.
Yeah,
he was the thread that sewed them all together.
Yes. But that doesn't make Din's story any less important, right, or any worse because they talked about Bo-Katan or Axe Woves or the Armorer.
And they showed, to me, the season 3 showed Din as a bigger badass than any of the other seasons. When he went after those guards with no weapons,
the John Wick of Mandalore.
Yeah, That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know. I think it did the character so much justice. Yeah, I just you know, I'm it's a tough one because
Well, and
I'm at that podcast thing too where I'm trying to rethink CreatorCast, and I talked to Colin and stuff, and we just got to see what we're going to do there. So I just haven't decided how I want to proceed on that one. So
well, are you interested in keeping the name or just the idea of another podcast?
I'd like to keep the name just because I got I got nothing else for a name.
Could you do a a mixed episode where it's the closing of one chapter of CreatorCast and an opening of another?
You're reading my mind because that's what my next talking to Colin is, because I would like to do a farewell / welcome episode. I just haven't decided.
Yeah.
I just haven't. I want to make sure whatever I do doesn't do a couple things. It doesn't affect me helping Zoe with her podcast, and it doesn't affect this podcast. Like, this podcast is more important to me than CreatorCast at the moment. You know.
Keyword is at the moment, Ken. We're gonna be third fiddle here soon.
No, listen. I think if I get CreatorCast back, I was thinking of at the maximum a monthly show, possibly a quarterly show. Just like that. I just want to go back to that one and basically just be focusing on costuming in Star Wars. Like, nothing. Like, honestly, if the show 1 week or 1 month is 20 minutes long talking about a Stormtrooper helmet, it's 20 minutes long. And if the next week it's 3 hours long, or the next month it's 3 hours long talking about an E11 blaster, then I want it to be that type of format.
Well, and the benefits now is you could even make it more focused. Let's say you could do an episode 30 minutes on modifying the Black Series Din Djarin helmet.
Yeah.
And then you can have another one where it's 2 hours about what it takes to print and prepare a 3D printed piece from soup to nuts.
Yeah, and that's what, like, and I don't know if I think I told you guys, but I think I want to do a 3-host format like we have here. But I still think my dream right now is 2 costumers and 1 Star Wars fan that has no desire or no knowledge of costumes. That's
2 cosplayers and a newbie.
Yeah, or not even someone that wants to get into it. Someone that like knows Star Wars and either has no desire or no time to get, just so they can be the one that directs the questions.
Gotcha.
That's that's my thoughts. But again, I this is May, the busy, like right now I have 200 students that all of a sudden start caring about their grades for the next 3 weeks. So I just got to get through. I just got to get through to like June 3rd, and then I'll be fine. So.
And how about your next episode of the Beskar Bucket, John?
I gotta figure out employment first before I start thinking about that. Unfortunately, I need to figure out what I'm doing for a real job before I start focusing on.
Well, you should look into broadcast. You're good at this.
Yeah, I was thinking about that today, and I was throwing applications out about just start throwing random applications at the wall. But my problem is I had an interview today that I completely embarrassed myself for. So,
John, dude, that's just a learning process for the next one. I mean,
Did your pants fall down or something?
No, it was a phone interview, and you'd think, how bad can you embarrass yourself in a phone interview? But so I applied for a computer technician position at our local YMCA, and I figured, I went to school for this. I'm not, I've been out of it for the last. Oh my God, I graduated 7 years ago.
You're getting into our realm of things now.
What decade is this?
I've been out of the game for a while, but I'm like, I mean, it's IT. It all blends together. You know, it's all logic, and I can connect point A to point B. And then he starts asking me about like networking stuff. I'm like, oh, that's the one thing that we really didn't cover. So we were all hardware and software, not networking. So yeah, no, he's asking me all these questions. I'm like, look, I'm gonna be honest with you. I have no idea. That is my one blind spot.
Dude, that's a good
That's
interview.
honesty.
That's a good interview. You know, like that's. I'm telling you, you're at that age, man. You should whatever dream job you have, apply for it.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, just go on Lucasfilm sites. Go on, like Reed Pop right now is looking for remote workers to promote their brands. Go on their websites. I mean, what's the worst that can happen? You know, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm just saying I'm at that age where that can't really happen. You know, like I have a very niche what I can do, and at my age, most people don't want you anymore. You know, but your age, man, the world's wide open, buddy.
The world is my oyster, as they say.
Well, and one of the other things that I think you'd need a little bit of giving yourself a little bit more credit and grace is that you still have the willingness to learn.
Yep.
You don't claim to be the expert in everything. You still have this is what I know, this is what I don't know, and I'm willing to learn what I don't know.
Yeah, and if you tell an interview, you're honest about that. You know how many people just say they know something, and then when they get there, they just fake it. Just tell them what you know. That's what people want to hear, and you'll get good at it. You know, I mean, you got graphic design potential just by that alone.
I wouldn't go that far.
Look at what's behind you. Okay.
Yeah, but first off,
I'm talking about the Beskar bucket. Listen, I
remade that.
Okay.
The sign itself is a file that I bought.
I understand that, but you put those all together. You understand? Like no one, like when you go to get a good meal, the chef didn't have to grow all the food. They took it and put it together.
That's true.
You know, don't sell yourself short, man. Listen. You tell them I was at the worldwide London, blah blah blah, and I did a live state. They don't need to know how many people are in the room. You know, you say I'm a good interview.
I podcasted live from the celebration.
Yeah. You know, just you know,
I am my own worst critic. I will say that.
Well,
sounds familiar.
You got two cheerleaders here, and your parents seem like the same. They're probably telling you the same stuff too. So,
yeah,
we should trade hats for a moment.
Yeah, no kidding.
That's too funny. We're like 3 peas in a pod. 3 peas in a podcast. That could be the name of your.
No, that's a good podcast name.
3 peas in a podcast.
So,
that's a great place to end this episode.
Yeah, let me don't anyone leave, but let me get where's my man? I feel so out of it. I'm like, where's all my stuff?
Where's my buttons?
Hang on.
Starships, but then my falcon's hyperdrive just slipped. I used to worry about the future, but then I threw my caution to the wind. I had no reason to be carefree, no, until I took a trip to the treetop side of town. Yeah. You know I heard that wicked rhythm. Hey, I had no choice but to get down, dance. Woo! There's nothing left.